before time itself began, before the first breath of creation was breathed, before the stars sparkled in the darkened void, there was God, the eternal, uncreated, self-existent creator who stands outside the boundaries of time, untouched by the laws of this universe. But here's the question that shakes the foundation of all understanding. If God created everything, who created God? This question, often whispered in the corners of our minds, challenges the very nature of reality. It's a question that seems to defy logic, that rattles the cage of our comprehension. But here's the truth that no one talks about. God cannot be created. To suggest that God had a beginning is to misunderstand the very essence of who he is. He is the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end, the source of all that is seen and unseen. God is not bound by time. Time itself exists because of him. What if I told you that the question, who created God, is not the deep philosophical enigma it appears to be? What if I told you it's a question built on flawed assumptions that place the eternal creator within the limits of human understanding? In this video, we are going to expose the truth that has been hidden from many and unveil the power and majesty of the uncaused cause, the one who stands beyond all that is created. By the end, you will see that asking, who created God, is like asking, what's outside of infinity? It simply does not fit. Stay with me as we dive deep into this mystery. We will explore the divine essence of God, the one who is not part of time, but the very reason time exists. As we unravel the layers of this truth, you will walk away not only with knowledge, but with a deep, healing sense of awe for the Creator who was, is, and always will be. This isn't just theology. This is life-changing revelation. Let's begin this journey of discovery. The flawed assumptions behind the question, who created God? The question, who created God, has reverberated through centuries, echoing in the minds of philosophers, skeptics, and even believers at times of doubt. It is a question that sounds profound, even profound enough to shake the very foundations of faith. But here's the shocking truth. This question rests on a fundamental misunderstanding. The belief that God, the creator of all, could be created is a misunderstanding of his very nature. To suggest that there is something, or someone before God, is to take a step into a false assumption that binds the eternal creator to the confines of time and space. This question tries to fit the infinite into the finite, but it doesn't work. It can't work. The creator cannot be a part of the same cycle as creation. God is the uncaused cause, the first and the only source of all existence. He is the origin from which everything flows, but he himself is not created or dependent on anything. He is the one who always was, who always is, and who always will be. To think otherwise is to misunderstand the very essence of divinity. What if the very act of asking, who created God, reveals something deeper than curiosity? What if this question exposes an error in how we perceive God? God is not just another thing within the universe. He is the author of the universe itself. He is not confined by time. He is the reason time exists. He is not bound by the laws of nature. He is the creator of those laws. The question, who created God, does not shine a light on the mysterious depths of faith. It shines a light on how far we, as human beings, have misunderstood the nature of the divine. In this moment, think about this. God is not bound by time. Time itself is his creation. Genesis 1:1 states, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Before time could begin its endless ticking, before light could pierce the darkness, God was. And he wasn't waiting to be born. He didn't exist within time. He created time itself. So when you ask who created God, You're asking the wrong question. The answer is simply, he wasn't created. He is. He always was, and he will always be. To attempt to understand God through a linear framework where everything must have a cause is to miss his true nature. Imagine trying to measure the ocean with a cup or weigh eternity with a scale. It is impossible. The infinite cannot be measured by finite tools. And yet, that's exactly what happens when we ask, who created God? The infinite doesn't fit in the box of human understanding, but that is where the beauty of God lies, in his transcendence, his eternal power, and his capacity to exist beyond the limitations we live with. God is not a part of the creation story. He is the one who wrote the story. In the same way that an author is not a character in their own book, God is not a part of the world he created. He stands outside of it, overseeing it all. Just as a painter is not defined by the canvas, God is not defined by the universe. He defines it. He is the painter, the breath of life, the force behind everything we see and experience. But perhaps we fail to understand because we are bound by time and space. Our very perception of reality makes it hard for us to imagine a being who is eternal and outside of time. But it is this very fact that makes him divine. Time is not his master. It is his creation. He does not rely on anything outside himself to exist. He exists because he is. This truth, when deeply understood, is the foundation of all faith, and the realization of this fact can transform us. When we understand that God is not created but rather the creator of all things, something shifts. It doesn't just reshape our theology, it reshapes how we live. This truth of God's eternal existence is the very bedrock of our faith. The God who was, is, and will always be is the God who stands outside of time, knowing the beginning from the end, and offering his love to us regardless of the constraints of our finite minds. The eternal nature of God revealed through Scripture. Now that we have peeled back the layers of misunderstanding around God's uncreated nature, let us look to Scripture. The Bible is filled with truths that emphasize God's eternal existence, his nature as the uncaused cause, the one who stands outside the limits of our world. Genesis chapter 1:1 begins with the words, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." This is the first declaration that sets the stage for everything we know. Before the universe, before the galaxies, before even the concept of beginning existed, God was. The words, "in the beginning," are not just words to mark the start of creation. They are words that show us God was already there, long before anything else existed. Long before time began its march forward, God was already present. He existed in a time before time, a timeless time. Psalm 92 captures this beautifully. Before the mountains were born, or you brought forth the whole world, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. From everlasting to everlasting, God stands, eternal and unchanging. These words bring us into the very heart of eternity. When everything else in the world is transient, when the stars fall and time ends, God remains. He is the eternal, unshakable foundation. And when we turn to the New Testament, the truth is no different. John 1:1 powerfully declares, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." These words speak directly to the pre-existence of Jesus, who is not a mere man who came into being at Bethlehem, but the eternal Word, the very essence of God, already in existence before the foundation of the world. The eternal Christ, the I Am, who stepped into time not to be created, but to bring creation into being. This truth is revealed further when Jesus, in his prayer in John 17:5 says, "And now, Father, glorify me in your presence with the glory I had with you before the world began." Jesus speaks of a glory that existed before time itself began. This glory is not something he gained or was given after his death and resurrection. It was always his, and he is returning to it. He didn't become divine. He always was divine. And through his work he restores us to this same glory so that we may share in it. These scriptures all point to one undeniable truth. God has no beginning and no end. He is eternal. He is the creator, not a created being. And this is the foundation of all understanding in Christian faith. When we ask who created God, we are not just questioning a theological concept, we are misunderstanding the very nature of the Creator. God cannot be created because he is the creator of all things. He is not bound by time. Time lives within his will. The transformation of our faith. When we understand this truth, imagine for a moment that you truly grasp this truth, the truth that God is eternal, uncreated, and the author of all that is. Imagine living your life not bound by the ticking of the clock, not constrained by the limitations of time. You would live with a deep sense of peace, knowing that you are in the hands of the one who holds all of time. When you grasp that God exists beyond time, you understand that your life is a part of his eternal plan. You are not just a fleeting moment in the grand scheme of things. You are a beloved creation, created by the Eternal One, who has always known you and always will. This truth should fill us with awe, reverence, and deep gratitude. Our faith is rooted in an eternal God, one who is unshakable, unchanging, and never dependent on anything outside himself. And it is this God who invites us into relationship with him, offering us peace that surpasses understanding, joy that transcends circumstances, and love that never ends. The moment you fully grasp the eternal nature of God, you will live differently. You will no longer live with fear of time running out, because you are connected to the Eternal One. You will live with purpose and confidence, knowing that your life is part of a bigger story, the story of an eternal God who is unshaken by time and space. This is the truth that transforms lives, and this is the God we worship, the eternal, uncreated Creator. He was, he is, and he will always be. And through Jesus Christ, we are invited to enter into this eternal existence with him. Jesus, the eternal Word, never created, always was. It's one of the most profound truths in the Christian faith, the truth that Jesus was not created, but has always existed. This isn't just a theological idea, it is a life-altering revelation. Imagine standing at the edge of time itself, looking into eternity, and seeing that Jesus was already there, not as a man, but as the Word who was with God and who was God. Before there was light, before there were stars, before the earth took its shape, Jesus was. The opening verses of John's Gospel reveal this truth with undeniable clarity. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John chapter 1:1. These words are more than just a theological statement. They are an invitation to see the divine mystery unfold. Jesus is not a figure who entered time at Bethlehem. Jesus is the eternal Word who was present before the beginning of the world. And through this eternal Word, God spoke creation into existence. Jesus is the voice that called forth the stars. He is the power that created all things, and without him, nothing was made. The eternal Christ stands at the center of all things, the uncreated creator of the universe. This revelation should stir something deep within you. The same Jesus who walked on the earth, who healed the sick and raised the dead, was there before it all began. He did not need to become divine. He was always divine. He didn't suddenly gain power. He was always powerful. He didn't start his life in a manger. He was already the Alpha and the Omega, the one who was and is to come. When we understand that Jesus has always existed, we realize that he was not born in time. He stepped into time. He was already the eternal King of glory, but he chose to enter into our broken world in order to redeem it. The birth of Jesus in Bethlehem wasn't the beginning of his existence. It was the moment when the eternal, uncreated Word became flesh and dwelt among us. In this light, we begin to see the breathtaking humility of God. The eternal, all-powerful creator of the universe, who existed before time, who spoke the galaxies into place, chose to step into a world filled with pain, suffering, and sin. He didn't do so as a king on a throne, but as a humble servant. He chose to walk among the very people he came to save, not as a distant deity, but as one who shared in their pain, their joy, and ultimately their death. He humbled himself, not because he lacked anything, but because he loved us beyond measure. This is where the story of Jesus breaks through the barrier of abstract theology into the deepest, most personal spaces of our hearts. The eternal, uncreated God didn't just create the world and leave us to figure it out. He came to us. The Creator became part of the creation, not to lord over it, but to redeem it. The truth that Jesus has always existed fills us with awe and reverence. This is the God who didn't just create life, but gave his life. Jesus wasn't waiting to be crowned in heaven. He chose to be crowned with thorns on earth. He wasn't seeking glory for himself. He gave it up so that we could have access to it. It's this humbling truth that calls us to examine our own hearts. Jesus, the eternal, uncreated one, stepped into time, into our world, so that we could step into his eternal kingdom. He didn't just come to save humanity. He came to restore what was lost, to bring us back into the glory we were originally meant to share with him. In Christ, we find our purpose, our meaning, and our eternity. And when we see Jesus as the eternal Word, we begin to see our lives differently. We realize that we were made for eternity, not for the fleeting things of this world, but for the lasting, unshakable purpose that God had in mind when he spoke us into being. The eternal glory of God revealed through Jesus. There is a staggering truth hidden in the words of John 17:5, where Jesus prays to the Father, "And now, Father, glorify me in your presence with the glory I had with you before the world began." This is no ordinary prayer. This is the prayer of the eternal Son of God, speaking of the glory that always existed, a glory he shared with the Father long before the foundation of the world. This prayer reveals to us the eternal relationship between the Father and the Son. It speaks of a glory that was never lost, but veiled for a time, only to be revealed again. When Jesus prays for his glory to be restored, he is not asking for something new. He is asking for the restoration of something he already possesses. Jesus' glory was never taken from him. It was hidden for a time, concealed in the mystery of his humanity. But in that moment on the cross, when he said, "It is finished," the glory of God was revealed in a way that changed everything. The glory of the Creator was made manifest not in the thunderous display of power, but in the sacrifice of love. The Creator was willing to lay down his life for his creation. This is the eternal glory of God, a glory that transcends time, that transcends our understanding, but that is made available to us through Christ. And this is where we begin to see the full beauty of God's eternal plan. Jesus, the eternal Word, did not just reveal the glory of the Father to us, he invited us into it. The same glory that existed before time began, the same glory that is beyond our comprehension, is the glory that Jesus came to restore. He came to show us that through him we too could experience that eternal glory. Through his life, death, and resurrection, he made a way for us to enter into the very glory of God. And that glory is not just a distant future. It is a present reality for those who are in Christ. This truth isn't just for theologians or scholars, it is for you and me. When we embrace the reality that Jesus was, is, and always will be the eternal Word, we realize that our lives are wrapped up in eternity. We are not living for temporary fame, fleeting success, or the applause of this world. We are living for something much greater, the eternal glory of God. And as we live in light of this eternal reality, we begin to see that the things of this world are not our true home. We are citizens of a heavenly kingdom, called to reflect the eternal glory of God in everything we do. This isn't just an abstract concept. This is our calling. To live in light of the eternal glory of God is to live with purpose and hope. It is to live with the knowledge that our lives matter in the grand story of redemption. It is to live with eternal significance, knowing that we are not just waiting for the end of time. We are already living in the eternity that has been opened up to us through Jesus Christ. The glory of God, revealed in Jesus Christ, is the glory that defines our lives. It is the glory that gives us purpose, that heals our wounds, and that calls us into something far greater than we could ever imagine. Jesus didn't just bring us a message of salvation. He brought us the eternal truth of who we are in Him. And when we see ourselves in light of His eternal glory, we begin to understand our true identity as children of the Most High, the eternal Creator who has called us into His divine story. This is the story of redemption, and we are invited to play our part in it. Living in the eternal glory of God. Imagine standing before the Creator of the universe, not just as a bystander, but as one invited into His eternal glory. Picture for a moment being in the presence of the one who spoke the stars into existence, the one whose breath formed the mountains and caused the oceans to roar. This is not a distant future waiting to be realized. It is a present reality, offered to us through Jesus Christ. And it's not just a gift for the end of time. It is a gift for now, here, today, for those who dare to understand and walk in the eternal glory of God. This is the glory that Jesus came to reveal. When He stepped into time, He didn't just bring a message of salvation. He brought the eternal glory of God into our midst. Jesus, the Word made flesh, didn't just exist before time began. He entered into time to restore us to the glory we were always meant to experience. The glory of God isn't just something we wait for in the distant future. It's something that has already begun in our lives. It's a present reality. Through Jesus, we are invited to experience that eternal glory, to enter into the very presence of God. And this invitation isn't just for the holy or the perfect. It's for you, the broken, the weary, the ones who have wandered far. The eternal God, who has always been, who is unshaken by time, offers you a glimpse into His unending glory. This is the God who heals, the God who doesn't just sit on His throne in glory, but reaches down to those who are hurting, those who are lost. He doesn't wait for you to clean yourself up. He invites you into His glory, where He restores you, makes you whole, and gives you a purpose that transcends the temporary struggles of this world. Think about the way you view your life now. How often do you feel the weight of time pressing down on you? The constant rush, the fleeting moments, the feeling that time is running out. But in the presence of God, time doesn't exist as we know it. His glory is timeless. And He invites you to live in that glory, not just in the moments that come after this life, but here, in this moment. To live in His glory is to live beyond the limitations of time, beyond the false urgency of this world. It's to live knowing that you are a part of something eternal, something that will never fade or decay. When we step into the eternal glory of God, everything changes. The way we see our circumstances, our struggles, our pain, it all changes. We are no longer bound by the ticking of the clock. We are no longer defined by the temporary seasons of our lives. Instead, we are defined by eternity, by the eternal love and purpose that God has placed in us. This is not just a passive experience, it is one that transforms us. We are not just recipients of God's glory, we are participants in it. Jesus came to reveal the glory of the Father to us, but he also calls us to reflect that glory to the world. To live in the eternal glory of God is to become an instrument of that glory, to live in such a way that the world sees his light shining through us. It's a call to bring heaven to earth, to manifest the kingdom of God in every part of our lives, in every relationship, in every action. And this is where the beauty of the gospel unfolds. The glory of God is not something to be earned or strived for. It is something that has already been given to us through the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. It is a gift we don't have to wait for, but one that we can walk in right now. This is the power of the gospel, the power of living in the eternal glory of God today, not just in the future, but in every moment of our lives. So, what does it mean for you to live in the glory of God? It means living with purpose, with peace, with an unshakable confidence that you are part of something far greater than yourself. It means living with the understanding that your life has eternal significance. The choices you make, the way you love, the way you serve, they matter, because they are not just tied to this world. They are part of God's eternal story. The glory of God, which was revealed through Jesus, is not something that is meant to stay distant from us. It is meant to transform us, to call us into something greater, to call us to a life that reflects his character, his love, his peace. This is the life that Jesus invites us into, the life that is wrapped in the eternal glory of the Creator. And in this life, we find our purpose, we find our identity, we find our peace. Because when we understand that we are living for something eternal, something unshakable, everything changes. The struggles we face, the challenges that seem impossible, are put into perspective when we understand that we are living for a purpose that is far beyond this world. And in that eternal perspective, we are able to find peace. Not the peace that comes from temporary circumstances, but the peace that comes from knowing that we are part of God's eternal plan. A plan that has no end. To live in the eternal glory of God is to understand that our lives have eternal value, that we are loved by the one who has always existed, who has always been, and who will always be. We are called to live in that glory, to experience it now, to share it with others, to bring his light into the world. This is the life we are invited into, and this is the glory we are meant to walk in. The eternal glory of God is not something distant. It is here, right now, waiting for you to embrace it, to walk in it, and to share it with the world. This is the truth that changes everything. The eternal God, the creator of all things, has invited you into his presence, into his glory, into his eternal story. And when you live in that truth, you live with purpose, with peace, and with the unshakable confidence that your life matters, not just for today, but for eternity. This is the power of the gospel, the glory of God revealed to us in Jesus Christ, available to us now and for all eternity. As we reach the final moments of this journey, let me invite you to pause for a moment and truly reflect. Close your eyes if you must, and think about the magnitude of what we've just explored. The eternal, uncreated God, the one who spoke the universe into existence, who holds all time in his hands, has always been. He was before the beginning, he is now, and he will forever be. This is the God we worship, the uncaused cause, the eternal creator, the one whose glory is beyond all comprehension. But here's the most incredible part of all. He's not distant. He's here, not just as a concept or a distant idea. God, the creator of all, the eternal one, is intimately connected with you, with your struggles, your joys, and your deepest longings. He is with you, walking beside you, through every moment of your life. He has been with you from the very beginning, and he will be with you to the very end. When we begin to understand that God has always been and always will be, something shifts within us. We stop living for the fleeting things of this world. We stop chasing after the empty promises of success, fame, or material gain. We stop measuring our worth by the temporary circumstances of this life. Instead, we live for the eternal purpose that God has set for us, a purpose that began before time even existed and will continue long after this world fades away. But here's the most beautiful truth of all. God calls us to share in his eternal glory. He doesn't just want us to know about it, he wants us to experience it. He wants us to step into the eternal reality of his presence and live in that glory every single day. This isn't just about waiting for eternity. Eternity is already here. It's not something we'll experience one day. It's something we're meant to live in right now, in every moment, in every breath, in every relationship. When we understand that God is eternal, we begin to see life differently. We understand that we are part of something much bigger than ourselves. We are part of an eternal story, a divine plan that began before the universe and will continue forever. The eternal God, the creator of everything, has invited us to live in his glory. And when we accept this invitation, we experience a transformation unlike any other. We are no longer bound by time. We are no longer slaves to the ticking clock that tells us we must hurry, that we must achieve, that we must accumulate. We live with purpose, with a deep, abiding sense that we are a part of something that will never end, something that has been written from the very beginning of time. But it's not just about us. It's about everyone around us. When we live in the eternal glory of God, we shine that glory into the world. We reflect his love, his peace, and his grace, and we become instruments of his eternal purpose. Our lives, filled with the glory of God, become beacons of hope to a world that desperately needs it. So I ask you, as you reflect on these truths, how will you live differently? How will you embrace the eternal glory of God that is already here in this moment? Will you continue to chase after the things that don't last? Or will you live for the eternal, unshakable glory of the one who has called you into his presence? This is the invitation of a lifetime. It is the invitation to step into something that has always been the eternal glory of God. And it is a gift that we are called to share, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us. Because when we live in the glory of God, we change everything. We become part of his divine plan, reflecting his light and his love to a world that is longing for both. If this message has stirred something in your heart, if it has challenged you to see the eternal truth of God's glory, then I invite you to share it. Like this video, if it has inspired you to live in a deeper, more meaningful way, and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the powerful truths that God is revealing through his word. Your support, whether it's a simple like or a comment below, is a powerful way of saying, I choose to live in God's glory. Every small act of encouragement matters. It helps bring more light into the world, more truth to those who need it most. If this message has helped you, if it has given you new hope, a new perspective, or a fresh understanding of God's eternal nature, please let me know in the comments below. Let's continue this journey of transformation together, lifting each other up, encouraging one another, and living out the glory of God in our lives. Remember, God has called you into something eternal. He has chosen you to share in his glory. Live in that truth, live in that glory, and never forget that you are part of a story that will never end. Thank you for walking with me today in this incredible journey. May the eternal glory of God be with you, now and forevermore.